Have you ever had a creepy roommate? I guarantee the creepy roommate in this first story will make your skin crawl. Up next, we'll see an entitled mom who expects her family to pay her kids' way to vacation. And then in our final story, we all like a good bit of family time. That's why, when a family wanted their son to join them for dinner, it seemed like a reasonable thing. That is, until we see their son's side. Howdy, folks. I'm Brian.
I'm Amber.
And here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Will I Be a Jerk for Making My Roommate Pay to Replace My Panties? Mobile user, so I apologize for the formatting. The names in this have been changed. Earlier this year, one of my friends, a 29-year-old male, we'll call him Taylor, moved in with my boyfriend, a 25-year-old male, and we'll call him Charlie, and me, a 23-year-old female. Taylor and I worked together and became really close friends. I introduced him to my boyfriend, and now the three of us are friends. However, I am closer to Taylor than my boyfriend is because Taylor and I have bonded over similar traumatic experiences. The other day, Charlie and I left for a little weekend trip. Taylor agreed to take care of our dog while we were away, which we were happy about. Charlie and I have a security camera in our bedroom. This camera is aimed at the bedroom door and the bathroom door. We have a bathroom attached to our room. Minutes after we left, we got a notification that there was a motion in our room. We checked the cameras and saw Taylor standing in our room. Over the next 30 minutes, he went in and out of our room about 7 times. It's important to note that up to this point, we have sincerely valued privacy. We never go into his room unless he states it's okay, and vice versa. So we were surprised to see him just walking in on his own. The 8th time he went into our room, we saw him go over to the dresser and dig through my panty drawer. He picked up a pair of panties, pulled down his boxers and pants, and put my panties on, and then put his boxers and pants back on over it. A few minutes later, he returned wearing one of my tank tops when he noticed the camera. He slowly backed out of the room, but then he returned later and continued digging through my panty drawer. He returned multiple times later to dig through my panties. All of this is recorded and saved on video. Seeing how he invaded our privacy and wore my underwear made me feel sick, and it needs to be addressed. We don't want to make Taylor feel ashamed for cross-dressing, but what he did with my clothing was disgusting. I know as soon as we got back home that I'm going to throw away all of my underwear, and Charlie is going to install a deadbolt in our bedroom door. We don't feel comfortable confronting him about it until we've returned home and are able to deadbolt our door. Would I be the jerk if I made him pay to replace all of my underwear and pay for the hardware for our bedroom deadbolt? The only reason I need those things now is because he invaded my privacy. Edit for clarification, Taylor is better friends with me than he is with Charlie. Between the two guys, I am obviously closer to my boyfriend. I do not prefer Taylor over my boyfriend, Charlie. All right, OP. What can I say? This was a huge invasion of privacy. This was downright creepy. He could have gone and bought his own clothes and done this. He didn't need to go into your bedroom to do this. Like, you can order things online and no one has to know that you've ordered them online. You can even go to a store and buy stuff like this if you're a guy, and if you're worried that people are going to judge you or something like that, most places people aren't going to judge you for buying women's underwear because they're probably going to assume that you're bringing them home to a woman. And like, if this is something that he doesn't want to reveal about himself and he doesn't want to out himself. So he had no excuse to go into your room to do this. He could have bought women's clothes and, women's underwear and had them shipped to himself. Plain and simple. No one would have known. You wouldn't have known. The only reason why you're finding out is because he invaded your privacy and you had a security camera. So certainly, I don't think you should shame him for his choice in what he wants to wear. I mean, if he wants to wear women's clothes, have at it. Whatever makes him happy. If he wants to wear your clothes without your permission, no, not at all. That is crossing a boundary. And he should know better. Friends don't let friends try on other friends' underwear. I think that's how the expression goes. I'm not sure. Amber, is that how it goes?
No.
Amber, we're live.
I'm reading.
I'm just kidding. So, yeah. But yeah, I think that this is the whole thing is that he invaded your privacy and he basically makes you feel like you're unsafe in your own home, and you don't know how he's going to react when he finds out that you know about this. He may have assumed that since you didn't text or call him or anything like that, that the security camera was just a prop. And so he's going to have probably a pretty rude awakening when he gets back, because he's not going to have that privacy that he thought he had, or he's going to have been on camera. So yeah, I don't know. So I don't think I think you are perfectly justified with requesting him to repay you for underwear and for a deadbolt. Plain and simple. And the thing is this, he can wear those underwear if he really wants to after he buys them from you, I guess. I don't know. As long as that isn't something you're uncomfortable with. I mean, that's still very odd. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. What in the world? It's not that he wants to wear women's clothes, it's that he invaded your room and wore yours. Yes, he should replace your clothes. Then he needs a new place to live. I mean, I tend to agree on that last bit there. I do think that he might need to move out and find his own place. I guess it really depends whether or not OP feels comfortable with this person in their house still. Even if he likes cross-dressing, it's very unhygienic for both him and OP. It would have been easier for him to buy a fresh pair, not the jerk. Yeah. That bit is what I'm more concerned about. Anything in here is like the sanitary part. Plus, like, unless they're like similar sizes, I don't know how he wouldn't have stretched out her clothes. This is not cross-dressing. This is theft, and probably for his own adult gratification. When you get back, confront him, demand he pay replacing all of your underwear, and tell him to get out. I mean, that actually brings up a good point. If this is some kind of like, personal thing that he has going on that he likes, then that might be a really big red flag. I was just kind of assuming that this was him not wanting, that he was just trying to experiment around with cross-dressing, which is fine, but not fine with doing with your clothes. But if this is some kind of, he gets some kind of gratification out of this, then yeah, that would actually be a huge red flag and a pretty good reason to let him go as a roommate. Alright, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Taking Sister-in-Law's Kids on a Vacation with Us? My husband's sister has 2 kids, 10 and 12. We don't see them often because they live a few states away and their father has primary custody. My sister-in-law has a habit of imposing on us. She'll call us while she's driving to our house and tell us she'll be staying for a week or 2. So it wasn't a huge surprise when she called my husband a couple days ago and said that she was sending kids to our house for 3 weeks once school lets out. Apparently, there's some drama at their dad's house, so he doesn't want them exposed to it. But she rents a room so the kids can't stay the night more than 1 or 2 nights a week. The only problem is that one of the weeks she plans on sending them to us will be on vacation at Universal. She said, great, they've never been. They'll have so much fun. My husband explained that this isn't an invitation. He's letting her know because she needs to find a different week. She asked why the kids can't just go with us, and we explained that we're driving, so there's no room and our Airbnb only has enough beds for our family. She offered to drive them down herself and have them sleep on the couch. We said that could work, and we told her that the cost of the tickets that we bought were $380 each, so if she sent us the money, we would buy another 2. She asked why she would send us money, and we explained that these are her kids, she would need to pay for them to go. She said that was ridiculous. If we have the money for this trip, then we're obviously well off enough that we can afford to pay for her kids too. We told her that we saved for years for this trip. We have a strict budget and we cannot afford an extra $800. As it is, we have to figure out how to add more to our budget for extra food, which we didn't ask for her to pay for. She called us selfish and said we'd get to explain to her kids why they didn't get to go to Universal and their cousins did. My husband hung up on her shortly after and got a call from his brother saying pretty much the same. He said $800 wouldn't break us, but their sister would never be able to save that much. And he's not entirely wrong. We could put it on the credit card, but the whole reason it took so long for this trip is because we are paying exclusively in cash. We just got out of credit card debt a couple years ago and don't want to go backwards for something that isn't an emergency. We've given both his siblings money before for things like rent and car repairs, but this is different. Are we jerks? All right, OP. No. I mean, this is a case of entitled parents at its best. And the thing is that she is being entitled. She wants you to foot the bill for her kids. She's imposing on you. And she's like, oh, here, have my kids, babysit them for free. But not only babysit them for free, you get to pay to babysit our kids. What a deal. What a steal. For her, that is. Yeah, no, in no reality are you the jerk here. You didn't invite them along. This wasn't like, oh, you extended an invitation to them and then said, oh, but you would have to pay now. No, that's not what happened here. You didn't offer them the trip. She's imposing on you. You're not the jerk in this situation. Plain and simple. Entitled parents, man. Entitled parents. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Huge, not the jerk. She sounds so entitled. $800 is a lot of money to ask on a whim. Seriously, that's my mortgage payment for the month. And your brother also needs to butt out unless he's going to pony up that change. Yeah. And it's not $800, more close to double with food and incidentals. Just one souvenir for each could be another $40 if you go inexpensive. Universal is expensive. Parking too. Just no. Sometimes the posts on the sub astound me. That makes 2 of us. Not the jerk. You aren't obligated to take your sister-in-law's children on your family vacation, and you certainly aren't obligated to pay for it. Would it have been nice if everything worked out that way? Sure. Sounds like those kids have it rough. Does it in any way mean you should pay $800 and overburden your family? Of course not. Sister-in-law needs a talking to about boundaries and what your family can and cannot take on. Blood ties aren't an excuse to take advantage of someone. Beautifully said. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for forcing our son to eat with us? Am I the jerk for forcing our son to eat meals with us? My teenage son is a vegan. He grew up eating meat, but for the past year or so, he became a vegan overnight. I think it's really cool. It must take a lot of willpower to have such a restrictive diet. However, he's been acting differently around mealtimes. He hates the smell of meat. If he's at home, he'll stay in his room while we cook. If he's cooking in the kitchen at the same time as us, he'll cover his face and refuse to help with our cooking. He cooks all of his meals for himself, so this happens pretty often, and we poke a bit of fun at him sometimes. In our culture, food is a family time. We barely spend time together, as both of my husband and I are both essential workers, so meal times are the only quality time we can spend together. My son never liked eating meals with others, but the amount of times he's eaten with us has dropped exponentially. He only eats with us if we're on the road, but otherwise, he sneaks back to his room with his plate as if we're not there. It's rude. He's treating our food as if it's disgusting, and I really want to spend more time with him. We respect his diet, so why can't he respect ours? So for the last week, I've been trying to get him to eat meals with us. We end up arguing, and he either sits at the table with an angry look on his face or runs to his room and ignores us. I'm starting to feel a little bad. Am I the jerk? Alright, OP. I think from this very one-sided side of this one-sided story, you might not be the jerk if given the way you framed this. No, not gently, you're the jerk, full on and with 2 on my chest. Son went vegan because he's on meds that made him nauseous and vomit at certain smells, such as smell of cooked and cooking meat. So OP is not only deliberately and purposefully subjecting their son to something that they know will make him ill, they are berating him and belittling him for it. Funny how OP left this little bit of information out of the post. This isn't a case of a teenage boy being bad of communicating, it's about a parent who gives zero respect for their child and deliberately tortures them. And here's the post that they linked to. OP followed up with new medicines that make their son nauseous at the smell of meat. You're the jerk for insisting that your child should be exposed to something that makes them sick. Shaking my head. And here's the reply from OP. The smell makes him want to throw up. He originally went vegan because taking his new medicine, certain smells make him nauseous. So yeah, I mean, I haven't given my judgment here, but let's give my judgment now. I'm gonna have to say that they're the jerk here. I mean, this isn't a matter of, OP's son being like, oh, I just don't want to spend time around you, or, something like that. Like, I could understand you wanting to spend more time around your son during, meals and whatnot. But if you're doing something that literally makes him sick during meal times, and you wonder why he's sitting looking mad, he might just be trying to stop himself from, vomiting. Think about trying to sit down at a meal and being sick to your stomach. Like, that's just not a good situation to be in. Like, being on medication that makes you sick to your stomach with certain smells, I can't even imagine what poor OP's son is going through here. OP, if you want to spend more time with your child during meals, maybe, just maybe, you should cook meals that don't make him sick. Maybe that might allow you to spend some time with your son. I don't know. What do you folks think? Do you think that's reasonable? This is just a sad situation, especially for their son. Like, their son here is getting sick and has to cook all their own meals and is being tormented and tortured by his family, who don't seem to understand that he didn't go vegan voluntarily. He went vegan because of his medication. So, yeah, I mean, OP, you get full marks for being a jerk. What can I say? Anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.